So in the time I've been making ACE content, coming out has shown up again and again in comments and conversations I've had with folks as like a real source of anxiety, of fear. And coming out should be joyful. It's a moment when you're sharing your authentic self with the world. You're announcing yourself as this whole human person. Like, you shouldn't have to be afraid of that. Other people, the world, shouldn't make you afraid of that. Let's talk about coming out. So here's some advice on coming out as an asexual person. Now, is this advice going to eradicate all of your fears about coming out? No. I mean, you can't control other people. This advice is for you. It's protective. It's giving you a little bit of additional armor before you go into battle. So this is what I know about coming out. Coming out is something we do for ourselves. So there's a lot of energy focused on other people when it comes to coming out. How did they take it? What did they say? Have they accepted you? Did they reject you? All of that energy focused outward, the opposite direction of where it should be going. We measure the success or failure of a coming out by how someone else responds to it. And honestly, I think that misses the point entirely. Coming out is something we do for ourselves. It's a choice we make to share something important about ourselves with other people. We're giving someone a gift when we come out. We're saying, hey, you are important to me. I want to share this true, vulnerable thing with you because you matter to me. We come out because we want to be seen. We want to be known and heard. And all of that is about us, not about other people. It's about you, about what you want and what you need. So first, ask yourself, who am I coming out for? If the answer is someone else, maybe this isn't the right time. But if the answer is you, well, watch out, world. Here you come. Out. Safety is the most important priority. Okay, coming out is a choice. Let me say that again. Coming out is a choice. You don't owe anyone your coming out. Anyone. Not your friends, not your family, not anyone. Coming out is something you do when you're ready to. So if it's not safe for you to come out yet, if there's a possibility of physical harm, mental harm, emotional harm, if there's a risk of you being financially cut off or being kicked out of where you live or being rejected by your family, you don't have to come out. Remember, this is for you, and we don't do anything to put ourselves in harm's way. You're not going to let anyone down by not coming out. You're not going to be disappointing your community or failing your identity. None of that is going to happen. Safety first, okay? I mean, you can't let your big ace energy shine whenever you're trying to fight off harm, right? We prioritize safety because when we come out, we're letting this beautiful, vulnerable, special part of ourselves step out into the world for the very first time. And you gotta let that part of yourself step out into the sunshine. I mean, you don't want it stepping out into a rainstorm, right? So, we prioritize safety. That's important. Now, I want to take a little side quest here and talk about parents. Coming out to your parents can be really difficult. Usually they're the closest people to you, and they often mean the most to you. But they can also be the ones who inflict the most damage. They can say the harshest things and do the most hurtful things. They can make us feel the most insecure about ourselves. But it's important to remember that most of the time, when they're doing this, it's because they're going through something too. So like our parents meet us at this really weird time in our lives, you know? They meet us when we're just these little flesh blobs who are crying and eating and vomiting all the time. They meet us when we're not even ourselves yet. And they know that person, that unformed flesh blob of a person, for years. So they have all this time to invent who we are. With all of their hopes and their dreams for us, they have time to invent this person that they expect us to be. The us our parents grow to love at first is a person they make up entirely. When we come out as ace or queer or trans or whatever it is that we end up being when we come to finally know ourselves, we shatter the image of this person that they've known and loved for years. When we come out, we're asking them to meet someone brand new, someone they did not expect, and that can be hard. You know, we experience something similar too when we're coming to understand our own asexuality. Remember how hard it was to say to yourself for the first time, I'm asexual? Like, do you remember all the difficult feelings and the hurt and the insecurity and the doubt and the self-hate that you felt just getting to that point? You had to give up an imagined version of yourself too, so that you could accept yourself as you truly are. That wasn't easy for you, and your parents go through something similar. Now, I'm not saying that you should allow your parents to treat you poorly. I'm not saying that at all. We deserve respect and kindness. We deserve support and love from the people who are closest to us. But we can also extend a little compassion for what they're giving up. I mean, we know that they're getting this beautiful, amazing asexual version of ourselves. It sometimes takes a little while for them to catch up. Coming out is a process. Okay, so I came out as queer when I was 18 years old. And the very first person I came out to was my friend Amanda. Now, Amanda was cool. We talked on the phone literally every night for hours and hours. So I decided one night that I was going to come out to her during one of our nightly phone conversations. I was terrified. I could barely breathe. My hands were shaking. I had written everything down on this piece of paper, like exactly what I was going to say to her. And this piece of paper was just like crumpled and practically torn because I'd been carrying it around, clutching it for dear life all day long. Finally, it was time. It was time to tell her. And I did it. I told her. And I had this 1 second of feeling completely triumphant. I was so courageous. I was like Xena warrior princess without the hand-eye coordination. And in the next second, I realized, oh my God, I'm gonna have to do this like hundreds of times over and over again with each person I know. So we tend to think of coming out as this like one night only, very special episode kind of event, you know, one and done, over. And we invest a lot of fear and anxiety in this one-time coming out, as though it's like the only time we're going to ever come out. And we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to make that time perfect. We want to make sure that we say the perfect thing. We have to perfectly understand every nuance of our identity. We have to portray the perfect amount of confidence. We have to be perfectly whatever it is we're telling someone we are. But look, coming out is a process. We come out over and over and over again to our friends, to our family, to our coworkers, to people that we share hobbies with, to people we volunteer with. And throughout our lives, we keep coming out. You know, we'll change jobs, we make new friends, we take up new hobbies, we do new things throughout our lives. You never stop coming out. So the pressure we put on ourselves to make our coming out perfect is really misguided. Only practice makes perfect, and trust me, you are going to get a lot of practice. So think of each coming out as one step forward, not the final destination. Maybe this time you'll get the words a little wrong. No sweat, there's next time. Maybe you'll learn a little bit more about asexuality that makes you realize you're demisexual and not gray sexual. Cool. You'll be able to share that with the next person you come out to the next time. Think of coming out as a lifelong process of sharing yourself with the world. And because you are this complex, amazing person, you can't tell your story in just one sitting. No pressure to be perfect, just be you, each and every time. Find the joy in being who you are. Okay, so you know what we don't say often enough? Being asexual is awesome. Look, I find a lot of joy in my asexuality. I experience the world in a totally unique way. When I think about attraction, I think about it in this like complex, multifaceted way instead of a really overly simplified way. I have found a greater understanding of who I am as a whole person through my asexuality. And ultimately, Asexuality has led me to this community with all of you in it. You incredible, wonderful ace people out there. I love you. You're my community, my big, chaotic ace family. There's a lot of joy there. But granted, it took me a while to get there. I had to do a lot of work on myself to say that honestly. But I still experience a lot of really wonderful moments because of, and not in spite of, being ace. Find that joy in being who you are. You're never going to get rid of the fear and the anxiety and the uncertainty. I mean, they're along for the ride no matter what. But you can make sure that they're riding shotgun to joy. Because look, you never would have gotten to the point you're at if you hadn't found joy in being ace. The joy of finding a language for who you are. The joy of realizing that you're not broken or deficient or wrong. You're just ace. The joy of finding that there's a community of people out there who've experienced what you've experienced, who are like you. You have to feel and know that joy before you can even think about coming out. And you've felt it. So remember that joy. Hold on to it. Let it be the fuel that propels you into your new life. Because look, coming out means stepping into the world as a new version of yourself. And man, there is like so much possibility in that. There is so much possibility in you. And you deserve a coming out experience that reflects that. So let's recap. Coming out is something we do for ourselves. Safety is the most important priority. Coming out is a lifelong process. Find the joy in being who you are. If you hold on to all of those things, coming out is going to be something you will rock at. And once you're out,
we shall take over the world.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. Hey, thanks for supporting the channel. Happy that you are here. Make sure you like, subscribe, click the bell, do all the things one does on YouTube so that I can see you back here at the next video. See you then.